Okay, take two. I think the key here is for me not to move as much, so that is going to be my goal in this second video. So as I was saying, for your Project 4, you ultimately are working to persuade an audience that you select and define for this project on your issue. So you're using that research that you gathered in Project 3, the research that you then turned into your annotated bibliography. You've already spent time with this research. You've read through the research, you've summarized it, you've written about how it can be useful for the issue that you are exploring. And now your goal with Project 4 is to use this project to persuade your defined audience about this issue. So I want you to determine what genre you want this project to be in. How you might go about choosing your genre is probably based on two reasons. The first reason being, or the consideration rather than the reason. The first thing you should consider is, who is my audience? And based on who your audience is, what would be the best genre for that project to be delivered in? Okay? And then the second consideration you should make is, what do you enjoy doing in terms of, when it comes to written products, when it comes to creating genres, what is it that you enjoy creating? Okay? Some ideas that you might have, some ideas that I want to give you that you might consider for Project 4. In terms of the genre that you make your project in, you can create an essay, you can create a letter to someone, maybe it is to a particular person or to a particular specific group of people, or maybe a more general population, depending on what your issue is and what you want that takeaway to be. It could be an article, okay? So an article that would maybe take shape in the format of a particular magazine or a newspaper article. It could be the genre of a blog of some sort, or a general website that is intended for a certain user to use of a particular audience. It could be a PowerPoint presentation that is meant to persuade an audience on an issue and dispense information. It could be other forms of multimedia, whether this is a YouTube video or a podcast. So it would be an audio file that you would create in the format of a podcast. It could be any type of other multimedia that you work with. I'm also fine with any other types of visual, artistic representation that you want to create for this. Your goal is to be persuasive, and your goal is to show a majority of the sources that you used in Project 3. So I should see 6 to 8 sources represented in your project for Project 4, no matter the genre that you decide to do for it. So you need to choose who your audience is going to be, determine who your audience is, and determine the purpose. Okay, so your ultimate goal is to persuade your audience. When we talk about persuasion, that could be multiple things. It could be persuading your audience to convince them on the issue, to convince them on why it matters, to convince them on maybe the fact that it is an issue in and of itself. Maybe you're using it to persuade them to just bring awareness to the issue, or to show a certain angle or side or perspective of the issue. To determine what it means for you to persuade your audience on this particular issue, using that defined audience and using the genre that best allows your audience to take away that message. Okay? These are the main goals that I wanted to focus on in terms of what your project should focus on. There is no page length requirement for Project 4 because you all are in different, you're going to be creating different genres with different focuses. So I want you to make sure that you're hitting the goals of the Category 2 rubric, that you're showing clearly how at least 6 of those 8 to 10 sources are represented from Project 3 and Project 4, and that you are persuading this audience in some way on this issue. Okay, so you have a lot more choice in this project in terms of the product you create and also in terms of what you do with this project. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here. I'm also going to extend your deadline for Project 4 instead of it being due on Thursday, since this video is a little bit late. I normally post this earlier than on Sundays. I'm going to give you until Friday night to turn this in. Okay? So that would be Friday the 19th at 11:59 p.m. That's when this is due. I will give you some more information about your final portfolio here soon, but do work hard on Project 4 this week, and make sure that it is due by Friday night, turned in by Friday night, okay? I hope the video helps. I hope it helps you navigate your assignment sheet a little bit more. Do check in with me as necessary, but know that you have a lot of option and a lot of choice that you can make for Project 4 in terms of you as the writer determining what will work best for you, for your project, for the purpose, and for your audience. All right? Y'all have a good week, and I will check in with you all soon, okay?